In the documentary I made on you, you said something in that film that a lot of people have responded to and they couldn't believe, which is that when you did Manhattan and you saw the finished film, you thought that it was unreleasable and told United Artists at the time.
No, I was afraid it was releasable.
Oh, you were afraid
that
it was
the
releasable.
problem. I finished Manhattan, and I looked at it, and I thought, oh, God, this is on my 6th film or 7th film, I didn't know, 8th film, I can't remember what, but if I can't do better at this point in my life, I should not make films. And I went to United Artists and said, don't put this movie out, and I'll make a film for you for nothing, for no money. I won't take any salary. Just don't put this out. And they said, what are you, nuts? We like the film. We bankrolled this film with a bank loan, and we're paying interest. We're not going to just dump the film. We've got to pay the bank back. And it looks like a good film to us. And I said, oh, please don't. And they said, no, sorry. We can't do that. We have, investor, but you can't. So they put it out, and the film was an enormous success. And so I shut up and pretended to like it,
But this is what I'm getting at, because that film is, again, a very beloved film among people who have followed your career. So when people have said to me, how can Woody be that far off? This is my guess about it, and you can tell me if I'm right, is that when you shoot a picture, because you've written the script, you have in your mind what you want to accomplish. And let's say what you want to accomplish is a goal that's up here.
Yeah.
And then you look at the finished film and you feel it's only here. You're sort of obsessed with that gap between what you meant to do and what you did, versus there are some films like Purple Rose of Cairo, Match Point, where you said, I want to do this, and the finished product sort of matched
Very
your
close,
expectations. So is that why
That's
you
it,
can
yeah.
look at a picture like Manhattan and think you missed the mark?
Yeah, well, when I finished Purple Rose, I thought, my God, I hit very close to what, when I was in my bed. I write on my bed, and when I'm, that's what I wrote, and here it is, and it looks like what I was dreaming of when I wrote it. Whereas Manhattan, I missed what I was going for. Same thing with Hannah and her sisters.
Wow.
I'm not saying it's a terrible film or a bad, I'm not here to knock my films, but for me personally, I missed. It was too, too streakily at the end, too bailed out. I bailed myself out. I'm sitting watching this Marx Brothers movie, and I'm thinking that life is okay and I shouldn't commit suicide, but that's not true.
If you were anyone but the maker of these films, I would debate you on each one. I would, at a dinner conversation, I would argue with anybody who said that Hannah and Her Sisters was anything short of a great picture. So it's funny that it would be you. What about Crimes and Misdemeanors, which is another picture that people just think is a masterpiece?
Crimes and Misdemeanors, I like better. I got more criticism on Crimes and Misdemeanors, but I like that better than Hannah, because it was because I had a bleak message, and I didn't back off my message. At the end of Hannah, Michael Caine is back with Hannah, but that's not the original ending I wrote. The original ending I wrote was that he's longs for Barbara Hershey, and he's terribly unhappy and doesn't have the courage to act on it and doesn't get it. I had a very bleak ending. I can't remember all the details. It was years ago, but what happened was you were going along like here, and my ending dropped off the table. I didn't earn the tragedy or the pathos that I was going for. It was unearned in the movie. So when the ending happened, it fell off the table. So I had to juice up the ending a little bit so you didn't get the feeling, oh God, I'm watching this for an hour and a half, and this is where he dumps me at the end. So I buoyed the end. I reshot. Whereas in the other one, Crimes and Misdemeanors, I was able to do it. He kills the girl, and he gets away with it, and he's fine. It's not on his conscience. If I killed somebody, it would be on my conscience, and I think on the conscience of most people, and thank God. But Marty Landau, you know, is in a tough position, and the only way out that he could see was to kill the girl. He has her killed, and he doesn't have a terrible life after. He's able to, you know, be happily married and you know, be with his family and have his profession, and I believe that's a more accurate picture of life. People commit horrible crimes all the time, and in the movies they must pay the penalty because of the censor. But in real life, people do horrible, horrible things, including killing people, and they get away with it, and they don't live shattered by remorse or haunted by visions. They're fine. They're able to kill somebody or do something equally terrible or almost equally terrible to them, and they have no guilt. And so I felt less compromised on that picture, less compromising on that picture. Whereas in Hannah's Sisters, I felt I was not skillful enough to earn the sad ending I originally wrote.
So it's really the upbeat ending about that film that keeps it from being fully successful in your eyes. Of Hannah.
Yeah. It was the ending that...
Well, it's interesting because both Annie Hall and Manhattan, which again are sort of these massively cherished films, both have these endings that are neither happy nor sad, but sort of split the difference. They're kind of bittersweet. And in Annie Hall, we have that closing line about we need the eggs, which everybody remembers, and you don't get back together with her, but life goes on. In Manhattan, there's that sweet ending with Mariel Hemingway, you have to have a little faith in people. And both those seem to end on just kind of the right note, that audiences walked out.
My inclination is toward a tragedy.
Right.
That I would have preferred to. I should have been a 19th. I was born in the last month of 35. I should have been a 30s playwright, one of those, you know, WPA playwrights or something, because my inclination has always been to tragedy. You'll see when you see Wonder Wheel. Wonder Wheel is quite a serious picture, and I'm bailed out of my mistakes by these brilliant performances by Kate Winslet and Justin Timberlake and Jim Belushi and
Juno Temple.
And Juno Temple. Yeah, the four of them are just amazing, and so I look good, I think, because of them. My inclination was always to be. I had always wanted to be Ingmar Bergman. I had never wanted to be a comic filmmaker, but I was cursed with a comic gift, and so I made comedies, and they worked. And after you make 2 or 3, people pigeonhole you as that. And so it was very hard for me to get any traction when I made Interiors, my first serious picture, because one, I wasn't very skillful. I was trying my best. I didn't want to compromise and make one of those sellout Hollywood pictures that are quote unquote serious, but they're not really serious. I was going for all the marbles of heavy European style serious film, and you know, I don't feel that I was really fully ready for it or up to it, but that's the kind of thing that interested me. But every time I made a comedy, it would be successful, or almost every time, and would be a hit, and people would laugh, and I had that knack of making people laugh. But I never wanted that. So in my comedies, there's always a sad element that runs through them. So no matter which comedy or romance it is, Vicky Cristina or the ones you mentioned, there's Annie Hall and Manhattan, there's always a kind of business. Look at the Purple Rose of Cairo. Mia, who played that so beautifully, is sitting in the movie theater at the end, a pathetic figure. You know, I always go back. When I did Take the Money and Run, I had a different ending on it. The ending was that I got machine gunned to death, and I shot a very brilliant thing, because it was my first movie, and every time I was dying as a machine gun, there were cuts from my life. It was wonderful, and but when they saw it, when the company Palomar saw it, they said, God, you can't end the picture like that. I mean, we're laughing and laughing, and then suddenly this thing dropped off the moon. There's this, and I didn't see it. But apparently when we showed the picture to audiences, they felt the same way that the suits felt. And I just had not earned that ending with the picture. But my tendency is always to be serious, if not tragic. If I had my druthers, I would be making many serious films. But people are always pushing me to make funny ones, and the funny ones occur to me more readily, and I'm more at home with them, and but that's the tragedy of my life.